it's Miss Olmez again. I was just checking in to see again how everyone's doing, but also I wanted to share with you some resources that I found as far as reading during this crazy time. And I know that's the biggest question on everybody's mind right now is how do I keep reading during this crisis, this outbreak? But there are actually some ways that you can do that and you can continue your reading. And I'd love to hear what you're reading and conversations about that. So again, if you want to comment down below what you're reading or what you're interested in, I'd love to hear your ideas and your opinions, because that's what I miss the most about teaching you guys. So first and foremost, if you are in the Montgomery County Library system and you have a library card, you already have access to a bajillion, and that's the scientific term, books online. So you can find ebooks and audiobooks online that you already have access to. There's an app called Libby and there's an app called Hoopla, and those aren't just made up apps, I promise, but you can find them online, and that's where you can search for library books. You just connect your library card number to that app, and then you have access to all of those, and you would return them and check them out kind of the same way that you would at the library. You have them for a specific amount of time. Sometimes books are on hold, things like that. But it is free as long as you have a library card. And for those of you who do not have a library card already, you actually can sign up for kind of an online temporary card, and it's good for 2 weeks. And so I know that we're probably still going to be under this lovely quarantine for a couple more weeks, but in the meantime you still have access to those books. You can get a temporary library card number, and then maybe after a couple weeks, if the libraries do open back up again, you can run and get your own card, and that way you'll have access to those as well. So there are still ways to use the library, and I definitely encourage you to check out the Montgomery County Library website, because they have a lot of resources as well that I've found and that I've been using, just to kind of keep my brain entertained while we're stuck inside. So definitely use the library, because that's free, and that you get access to that for free as a Montgomery County member. So I'll try and put a link down below to the library website to kind of help you guys out. Next, not so much free, but they are options. Audible does a 30-day free trial, and I know a lot of maybe the YouTubers that you listen to or watch, they do like audible.com/YouTuber name, and they'll get you one free book. And so you can try that for 30 days. Definitely check with your parents though, because I do believe you have to put in a card number. But if it's something that you're interested in, I think it's like around $15 a month, and then you get one free audiobook credit per month. And so, I mean, audiobooks take hours to read, so if you're someone that likes to take their time and you're not just going to absorb it all in one sitting, then maybe that could be an option for you. But like I said, just check with your parents first, because you do have to put in card information. So you can also buy ebooks online from Barnes & Noble or Amazon. You don't actually have to have their devices. You don't have to have a Nook. You don't have to have a Kindle. You can actually just download the app on your phone or your tablet or whatever way that you can do that. And then if you buy the books online, then you can open them up through the app. So I read books on my phone through the Nook app, which is through Barnes & Noble. And ebooks are usually a little bit cheaper than regular books, since they're not actually having to print them. So that's definitely an option if you want like a low cost way to do that, especially since all these places are closed right now. So online is probably the way to go. Audiobooks do usually cost a bit more because there's some production value to them. So if audiobooks are your way to go, Audible kind of is worth it, because then you're only having to pay like $15 as opposed to the $30 that it would cost out of pocket to buy a book. So that's an option. Like I said, not necessarily my recommendation. I recommend the library for all things because it's free, but if that is something that you're interested in, those are there for you as well. There's also a lot of free ebooks online right now, a lot of classics, a lot of kind of older books. I provided some links in your Google Classroom, and I also emailed them out to parents to kind of let you know what's available right now, because I'm getting more and more, and I'm trying to update this document as much as possible. So just keep an eye out in your Google Classroom. I've posted about 5 links for audiobooks or ebooks that are free that you can definitely use. Also use YouTube. YouTube is a resource. A lot of people will read books online, maybe like just the first chapter or anything like that. And so you can always go on YouTube and look for options there if there's a specific book that you have in mind just to listen to. And like I said, these are things you can listen to while you're playing your video games, while you're in a car ride, while you're doing all these things that maybe your brain's just craving that extra little bit of information because you've been stuck inside playing video games all month long. So if you're bored and you need something to do, like I said, books are amazing. Books can take you on those journeys that we can't go on right now because we're under quarantine. So use these resources. Like, I really want you guys to continue reading during this time. And I know for a lot of us, reading is the absolute worst thing in the world. So if you've never tried listening to a book, an audiobook, or you've never tried e-reading, try it. It might be your thing. You might have just discovered a new way to read. And I mean, what do you have to lose? Because we got all the time in the world right now. So there's plenty of time to still be doing those fun things that we sometimes put in front of reading, like video games or spending time with friends and things like that. Like, we have all the time in the world right now, so why not pick up a book and just try it for a little bit? So that's my encouragement. As you guys are reading, just keep ELA in mind. Think about, what are the themes that we are learning? What are the lessons that we're learning from what you're reading? What is the author's purpose? How are they honing their craft with figurative language or word choice, or how are they organizing their ideas? All the things that you've heard me go on and on about all year long. Keep that in mind as you're reading, because those are things that we'll be discussing and that I would love to hear from you about. Like I said, if you're reading anything that you absolutely love right now, I would love to hear about it. Any thoughts at all, even if you're like, this book is terrible and I never want to read it again, tell me, because that's how I get my resources. That's how I get my recommendations to give to you guys. So just keep that in mind. Keep reading. Keep having those conversations. Talk to your parents. Ask them what they like to read. Ask them what they read when they were your age, because maybe there's books that you didn't know about that are a little bit older that could be really great for you, and that's a way that you can connect and have conversations with your family right now. Currently, I'm reading, it's called A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas? I'm not really sure how to pronounce her name, but this is what I'm reading right now, and I also have the audiobook, so when I'm falling asleep at night, I listen to it on my headphones, and when I'm bored during the day, I just pick up the book and read it that way. Podcasts are great too. Those aren't necessarily books, but sometimes you can find a podcast, like, of course, you know, I listen to Harry Potter podcasts because you guys know me and that's what I like to listen to. So I listen to people talk about the books that we all love. So again, there are so many resources for you right now. I just encourage you to use them. I encourage you to share your thoughts with me. I'd love to hear what you're reading, what you're loving, what you're hating. This is how I get recommendations for other people. So keep doing what you're doing. Check your Google Classroom, check your emails, tell your parents to check their emails because I've sent out resources for them as well. And I just encourage you guys to keep having those conversations about reading. All right, thanks you guys. Have a good rest of the day.